Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and this is one of my very favorite types of videos to make, and I'm going to keep making them as long as there continues to be interest, but it's a back and forth discourse on social media, specifically on Twitter, and it's between somebody who insists that XRP is centralized, and by the way, this is hilarious, he brings up evidence to prove that XRP is centralized, and it actually argues the opposite, which is always hilarious to me when people do this. Like, no, here's the evidence that what I believe is true. Is like, no, buddy, it says the opposite. It supports my point of view. So it's always a good time. But anyway, so this guy, he's debating Matt Hamilton, who is a Ripple employee. And Matt Hamilton is very well informed. I feel sorry for anybody that has to debate him on the tech aspects of XRP and crypto in general. And so this is going to be a good time. But I tell you, this individual in question, he thinks that the solution for XRP, like what he calls, what he says it would be a true decentralization for XRP, it's actually anarchy. That's what he's saying is needed. I'll explain running. But before we go any further, I do want to be clear. I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who likes making YouTube videos about Ripple and XRP and clueless people, just as a fun hobby. That's all that's going on here. And so the interesting part in this thread started when somebody named Katsumoto, who is actually not a primary contributor in this thread, but this is where I'm going to start, wrote the following, because this is what got the attention of Matt Hamilton, Ripple employee. He wrote, Stellar, which of course Stellar Development Foundation, I believe is what it's called. That's the nonprofit that is promoting Stellar Lumens, the cryptocurrency XLM. Anyway, Stellar and centralized XRP are not even comparable. Stellar has TSS, AMMS, lending, borrowings, SDEX, all projects and coins building on it, games, non-fungible tokens, and many more. Even institutions like MoneyGram said they have never used XRP in their life. If you don't know S-word, stop talking. And MoneyGram obviously has used XRP. There's no longer a partnership because the SEC going after them, but I've already debunked that FUD in a separate video, so for the sake of time, I'm going to breeze on past that, but that is not true. Matt Hamilton then responded, "What are you talking about? Of course MoneyGram were using XRP. That was the whole point of them using on-demand liquidity. The XRP ledger has all those features that you claim Stellar has. Indeed, this is factual." And then somebody else jumped in and wrote, Katsumoto X, who wrote the nonsense. "How ironic, it appears you are the one who does not know S-word." It's just funny to me. And then the guy jumped back in, Katsumoto X wrote, "Yeah, how ironic. It appears the whole ecosystem is the one who says XRP is a centralized scam with a bunch of trolls." And so Matt Hamilton, Ripple employee, jumped in and wrote, "The whole ecosystem, really? Or do you just mean the people who misinformed you?" Because yes, indeed, it's the case that the trolls are the people that are ideologically opposed to Ripple and XRP, and so they're going to hate it no matter what the facts are, or they're just so misinformed and clueless that they're just going to be troll-like and just, that no Ripple, that's the troll sound. And so this is where the key contributor to the thread on the opposing side comes in. This is Lumen Lord, right there. And it simply shared this screen grab, and it's from Reddit. And this is nonsense. It's titled "A Brief Explanation of How XRP is Centralized." XRP uses its own RPCA Ripple Protocol consensus algorithm and has roughly 1,000 nodes. 33 nodes must finalize the transactions, and in parentheses writes, the code refers to it as UNL, or Unique Node List. Now, Ripple, the company, hand selects the unique node list. Surprise, surprise. They pick and choose who can oversee transactions. It is therefore centralized. Yeah, the only problem is that's not true. Everybody sets their own UNL. And it is not centralized, and you can't force anyone on the network to listen to anyone else. As you'll see, that's what Lumen Lord ultimately wants to be the case in order to prove that it's centralized, but again, that would just be pure anarchy, and he doesn't understand what centralization is. And so part of this, and I'll say this too, and this is part of my wisdom being a 38-year-old man at this point, a lot of times when people are debating, even if they agree on the facts, they'll continue to debate and state that they disagree because they're not using the same definitions. And so it could potentially be the case that they would agree on the facts, Lumen Lord and Matt Hamilton, and that they both call it different things. Now, even if so, and that's an if, even if so, Lumen Lord, I would state, is incorrectly utilizing the word centralization, but it's key to just understand this. If you're ever debating anybody, if you're in a point of contention or it seems like you're at an impasse, make sure you're using the same definitions, because so frequently you're just talking past each other, right? And that there could be a bit of that here, which is not Matt Hamilton's fault, to be super duper clear. Matt Hamilton is using the right definition of centralization. I'm just saying I don't think Lumen Lord is. And so Matt Hamilton responded to that little screen grab and wrote, right, but that's just not true, is it? You know that. And this is where it gets extra fun. Lumen Lord responded, it's true. It's on their website. It just gets so freaking good. So I pulled up the website. Here it is, xrpl.org. And here's my favorite bullet point. And again, this is the guy trying to prove that the XRP ledger, is centralized. And here's a primary bullet point. All valid transactions are processed without needing a central operator or having a single point of failure. Well done, Lumen Lord. That's my golf clap just for you. It's a little sarcastic, but well done, Lumen Lord. Oh, I love it when this happens. It is rich. And then, oblivious to the fact that he just defeated his own argument, he continues. And he wrote, it is labeled here as the Ripple consensus algorithm, and I'm not going to pull this up just for the sake of time. It would go forever if I literally went off to every single link that this guy threw down and branched off. But I promise that I believe, anyway, I am doing a rather honest and good job of just summarizing the points on both sides, because I don't want to misrepresent anyone, then it's not fun. I just want the ideas to fight each other. The ideas, I love people engaging in the arena of ideas, and then people listening, they can decide what they find to be more compelling. And I suspect most people are going to find Matt Hamilton's arguments more compelling, and if you don't, fine, at least you heard the argument. And so Matt Hamilton wrote, none of those links state what is claimed in the misinformed Reddit post you screenshotted. And Lumen Lord responds, the point of the Reddit post is to tell you it's centralized, which it is. The other variables may have changed, but the fact stands that it is indeed centralized. When they remove themselves from UNL validator list, then I'll change my mind. So he's talking about when Ripple, that's what he's trying to say, is when Ripple removes themselves from UNL validator list, then I'll change my mind. But that's not exactly how it works. And so Matt Hamilton responded, but it's not centralized. That's the whole point. The information in that Reddit post is inaccurate, e.g., the XRP ledger has had several forks. Actually, I didn't read that part. That would have been fun to read too. But yeah, it did state that here. Bitcoin has over 100 forks because it's decentralized. XRP has had 0 forks. Gee, I wonder why. And I made a video where I actually covered the forks of the XRP ledger because it was so fascinating to me that it happened. And so it doesn't normally happen because XRP has a built-in amendment process, and so people can easily vote to make changes to the XRP ledger rather than fork. And so the Bitcoin blockchain, yeah, it forks, and I actually don't have a problem with that. To me, it's just the market figuring stuff out, so I don't have a problem. But I still will say, if Bitcoin had a similar amendment process, perhaps there wouldn't be so many damn forks of Bitcoin. I think that's fair. Where was I? Let me scroll back down. Here we go. Right, so he said again, but it's not centralized. That's the whole point. The information in that Reddit post is inaccurate. E.g., the XRP ledger has had several forks. Every node validates every transaction. Ripple only chose nodes on their UNL, not yours. Exactly, and so this is something that he was seemingly missing at this point. And then Lumen Lord responds, please send me the link for the protocol upgrade that says that every transaction is validated by every node now. What you're saying needs validation. Their main website says otherwise. And Matt Hamilton wrote, this has always been the case. Every single node will validate the correctness of every single transaction when applying it to their copy of the ledger. And in fact, I could be mistaken. Let me pull this up. It might say that here. Here's a bullet point. This is what the guy shared. I think this might make that point, but let me read this to be sure. This is what Lumen Lord shared to prove his point. Here's another bullet point. Everyone who uses the XRP ledger can agree on the latest state and which transactions have occurred in which order. Oh yeah, okay, so there you go. So I was right. So it's that point is also included. Lumen Lord's just shooting himself in the foot here, and he doesn't realize it. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay. I didn't catch that when I was reading through that the initial time. It just didn't strike my Moon Lambo brain, but there we go. I caught it there. And so Then Matt Hamilton wrote, or sorry, Lumen Lord wrote, if this has always been the case, please show actual proof. I've backed up all my statements. You have not. And it's just extra funny now. Show proof. Lumen Lord showed the proof. You gotta love this stuff. My gosh. Oh God. You know what? I'm glad I didn't catch it the first time. That was my honest, real reaction right there. So anyway, somebody that named Got That Crypto Fever wrote, if you consider Reddit post proof, you should not be investing. Lumen Lord then wrote, read the entire thread. I also said the Reddit post was just an example. Stop beating around the bush and present some facts. Show me where it states that every transaction is traced by every node. They aren't. And then Got That Crypto Fever wrote, I don't know how much more clear it can get than all servers in the network process each transaction according to the same rules, and any transaction that follows the protocol is confirmed right away. And then there's a link to it right there on the same XRPL.org website. And then Lumen Lord says, it doesn't say that all transactions are processed across all nodes at the same time. They are processed by the same set of rules, and any transaction that follows the protocol is confirmed right away. And so here's another point where he doesn't understand how this works. So validators, they would be better named sequencers, because what they're doing is just choosing the order in which transactions come in. And so he says that they need to be processed on all nodes at the same time. That's physically impossible, thanks to the laws of the universe. Consider this. If you're making a phone call to somebody right next to you, you're not going to have much of a leg, right? Assuming that the service is working as designed and properly, not much of a lag. But if you call and you're speaking to somebody on the other side of the planet, it takes longer for the message to get to the other side of the planet, right? And then they've got to hear it, and then they got to say something, get back to you. So there's a lag time, right? And so orders don't come in at the same time. And here he's saying, no, it's centralized because orders don't they're not all processed at the same time. They can't be processed at the same time. The whole point of this is to sequence. And so the way that works on the XRP ledger is once 80% of validators see that a transaction occurred in a particular order, then consensus is achieved. That's it. Because we don't need everyone to see it that way. We just need to agree. So if the other 20% don't agree, it doesn't matter that they don't agree. Although they'll just recognize, oh, well, the other ones did see it that way. So now if you're being an honest validator, then you'll just be like, okay, they saw it, good enough. Because you don't need 100% consensus if you're a good operator in the space. There's no reason you can't game the system. There's nothing to benefit from. You can't have a chain reorganization within the XRP ledger. In fact, the worst that you could do if you spam the network or you're a bad actor is halt the ledger, that'd be bad, but it's not as bad as incorrect forward progress. It can't happen here the way that it's designed. And so Matt Hamilton then jumped back in and said, it literally says that all servers process every transaction. And so this guy's just not getting it. Matt Hamilton's laying it out here. This other guy Got That Crypto Fever also laying it out there. Kudos to both of them, and Lumen Lord not having it. And he said, the way it's written in this article, it does not sound like it, but I'll bite. This article says it better. The problem still arises when it comes to the UNLs. Until Ripple removes their centralized servers, it will be just that, centralized. They still choose who is trusted. And Matt Hamilton responded, how is it centralized? Ripple runs just 6 of the 37 nodes on Ripple's own UNL. They run just 6 out of the 39 nodes on the XRP Ledger Foundation's UNL. Ripple don't choose who is trusted. Node operators do. And exactly, so the XRP Ledger Foundation, they do have their own recommended list. You don't even have to understand, it's basically a starter kit. You can use Ripple starter kit, which has a UNL. You could use the XRP Ledger Foundation starter kit, which has a UNL, or neither. You get to decide what you want to do here. And this Lumen Lord guy, it just isn't, it's not clicking. I don't know what's happening up there. But then Lumen Lord wrote, if they scaled to 1,000 UNLs, they could still all be owned by sub-companies that all link back to one another. Who are the node operators? How do we know they aren't biased somehow? Where is the validation? And so here you go. And so this is where he seems to misunderstand the nature of decentralized system, which is that they're only decentralized insofar as people that are operating with it to decide that they're okay with everybody abiding by the rules. And so if you're talking about scaling up, if everyone's interests are in line, then what's the problem with more validators coming online that all still agree? And if you start to have a bunch of people spamming the network, which could have, like, you could try this, you'd fail. But if you spin up a you know, thousand new validator or nodes, even if you did that, like, the validators, they don't, if they don't trust you, they don't have to listen to you. And so the way that this is designed, and this is part of the genius of it, is it's hard to be trusted on the network, especially if you're the new kid in town. But once you are trusted, if you do something wrong and you don't act in good faith or outside the interests of you know, the whole, basically, then you lose that trust very quickly. That's the point of this, but there's still no central point of failure. If there is no central point of failure and nobody can stop you from transacting on the ledger, it's not centralized. And so here's Lumenlord trying to come up with his own definition of what centralization is, but he's wrong. Because what he's defining here, if he wants it to go the way that he's citing here, like, it is anarchy. Because if you're a validator and you have to trust everyone else, that's anarchy. There will be no coherent system. Everybody can just lie to everybody. You could absolutely destroy everything from there. And this is what he's arguing for. It just doesn't make any sense. And so the Matt Hamilton responded and wrote, "I think you don't understand what a UNL is. It is simply a list of validators that each node consults for the consensus process. What does biased mean in your mind? What are you afraid they could do?" And again, so to be clear, even if somebody was like, even if like a whole bunch of people came on board and they all had the same interest, well, first of all, I say that's fine. But all that's happening anyway is you're just coming to consensus about the order in which transactions come through. It's not like a validator is saying, no, you, like, they're not some sort of gatekeeper, like, you shall pass transaction, you shall not pass transaction. That's not how this works. They're just ordering. That's it, like, ordering transactions. Anyway, and then Lumenlord responded again, "I understand the unique node lists." And no, you don't. "My issue is having a group of people controlling the majority of nodes to control the voters, to favor them and not the community as a whole." So again, he misunderstands the nature of decentralized systems, as I already outlined. Matt Hamilton then wrote, "Which group of people are you pretending control the majority of nodes?" Yeah, and by the way, I'm not convinced, like, I'm not even ceding his point, just to be clear, that there's some sort of super group and they're all, like, it's some sort of actual centralized group, but they're just pretending to not be. Like, that's a bogus, weird claim. In fact, Ripple has tried to push through amendments that have failed. And so in a centralized system, that wouldn't have happened. Ripple just would have gotten whatever they wanted pushed through. And then Lumenlord wrote, "I have no idea, time will tell." Matt Hamilton said, "So you are admitting that you have no idea what you are talking about." And Lumenlord wrote, "No, XRP is still centralized until I'm proven different with who runs the nodes and how trust is earned. I will stand by my answer." Trust is earned. And so this is where I keep going back to. Well, yes, the trust should be earned, because otherwise you have anarchy, and he doesn't understand that would just destroy the entire system. I don't know. Did the thought not cross his mind? Like, what would the implications be if what he perceives as a decentralized system actually happened? Because he's perceiving anarchy as decentralization. It would destroy it. It's so nonsensical. So Matt Hamilton then said, "No, it is decentralized. Sorry. There is literally no central authority. Anyone can run a node. Run your own node. Then you don't have to trust anyone else. Welcome to crypto." And then Lumenlord wrote, "Yeah, you can run your own node, but it won't be trusted to the main nodes unless someone includes you because they trust you. Only trusted nodes get a vote. So once again, my friend, centralized." And so there you go, an incorrect definition of centralized. That you need to factor in, can you operate without a permission on the XRP ledger? Yes, you can. Is there a central point of failure? No, there's not. So it's not centralized. What he is saying is centralization is actually anarchy. What in the ever-loving hell? I've never seen this argument made. It was so fascinating to me. And so Matt Hamilton wrote, "Exactly, it is decentralized. It is up to each other individual node if they trust you or not." Exactly, you can't be forced to. And then Lumenlord wrote, "The supermajority of UNL trusted nodes have to allow you to be a trusted node. Go try to start a trusted node and get back to me. When you have a vote on the protocol change, please let me know. It's centralized." And then Matt Hamilton wrote, "It is decentralized. There is literally no central authority. As you have admitted yourself, you have to get the other nodes on the network to trust you." Exactly. And so think about this. If you could just jump in, and this is what Lumenlord says would make it decentralized, you need to be able to start a validator and come in and have a vote. Well, if it were that easy, you would destroy the XRP ledger. I don't know how he doesn't get this. And I'm sure he'd love it. And then Lumenlord wrote, The nodes started in control of Ripple. They are the ones who chose who was allowed to come on board and be trusted. Who's to say those nodes aren't controlled by the same company that continues to pick and choose the nodes to trust, keeping the majority vote? So he's into conspiracy theory land now. Matt Hamilton then wrote, nope, it is and always has been a permissionless network. Anyone has always been able to run a node. And so it goes on a little bit further, but that's the gist of it. It's on your screen if you actually want to hear and take a look. But that was the meat of it, and so that's where I intended to stop. But it's just fascinating that people have such strong opinions and they're wrong. And really, that's why I was saying also, it comes down to like, what do you perceive to be the definition of centralization? And so in this guy's mind, it looks to me, Lumen Lord, like his definition of centralization in this case would be anarchy. You got to be able to come in, there's no restraints on who can have a vote on amendment change. You can just come in and hijack the whole system. That would be decentralization to him. I disagree. I don't think that's how people in the world of crypto and blockchain look at things. It's about, is there a central point of failure, and can you act on a network without permission of a central authority, right? Those are primary factors, and we could talk about other stuff too. It's a sliding scale, and I do admit that, but those are the core features of a decentralized system, right? You let me know what you think. I always have a fun time with this stuff, so as long as you guys keep liking this stuff, I love making these videos, and I will keep finding these arguments. I just come across them all the time anyway, but on Twitter, and they're just fun to deconstruct. So let me know what you think. I'll wrap up there. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.